Professor Mohd.
Well, after the Warga Wilayah, it's a very tough act to do now. But I'm a bit really happy and pleased that this morning from the first speaker, we had Angela and then Anas and then Mark and Asmil joining together. I think the idea of performance studies more or less makes sense. But before I begin my little dialogue here, may I ask you, and give a show of hand, if we look at the presentation this morning, Angela, Anas, and the performance that you saw, whatever you see, how many of you believe that all of this that you saw were performance? Just put your hand up. How many of you think that the last one was performance, the other two wasn't performance? See, good response. So we have here a dichotomous idea, contrastive way of looking what performance is. Well, basically, I think I am going to just shuffle my slide. All this doesn't make sense anymore, I tell you, because after seeing this, the last performance, I said to myself, oh my God, I can't use my slide anymore, because I was trying to track you guys on a single idea of going to this concept, and suddenly I said, they deconstructed everything. So what do I do? How do I begin? And I think, rather than trying to be academic about it, I think let's go to this one, just to begin, so that we have to maybe be able to absorb the idea of what performance is, why performance studies is crucial, and why performance studies becomes a tool in all kinds of industries, not only creative industry, but I'm trajectorizing it this morning to the creative industry. Look at what I've said here, I've quoted here. Performance is broad and include everything. You can include everything. I picked 4 very important points just to discuss how one elucidates the nature of performance itself. First, performance is a restored behavior, meaning to say it is an act that you are restoring again and again. You have restored that act because you have had a chance of practicing it, of realizing it, of rehearsing it, of learning it. It's not something that is immediately improvised out of because you are reacting certain reaction. No. It is always organized. The other point is, again, similar to the restored behavior, twice behavior, meaning to say, if this Warga Wilayah is performed again tomorrow night and perform again the night following tomorrow night, you will find that they are performing the same thing, except for the fact they are going to react differently with different kinds of people who react to them. But the structure, the construct, the idea, the ideologue, and the dialogue, and the music will just be the same. They couldn't have done that if they have not rehearsed it. Angela couldn't have done that beautiful presentation if she had not done this presentation before. I mean, it is a concept that you develop. Anas comes up here and he just very smoothly went through it because, man, this is not first time for him. He manipulates what he has had and he manipulates the way he has learned how to have it. And he manipulates us to believe in what he thinks we should believe. You know, sometimes we get out of the room when we drive back home and realize, my God, he's talking nonsense. But never mind. That's okay, because that's the point of performance. At that point, when you react and contract, you make your idea well absorbed, it's amoebic, flows all over the place, it consumes you, you're mesmerized. And that moment of being mesmerized is a moment by which we in theater call it the liminal stage. You are in between the one you before and the one that you now. You are being mesmerized by me now. You are in a state of flux, as I am in a state of flux. Okay? I come here as a professor, but I'm not really a professor on stage. I become a clown. That's okay. Because I desire to be that clown in order to deliver my points of reference. And if I do appear on stage as a performance in a very distinguished forum of scholars, tight lips and very cornered, I would say, well, ladies and gentlemen, really, I don't think so. There's another performance. So the idea of getting into that behavior I learned that. I was trained in the young, I was born before independence, and I grew up, so it's very Jurassic now. And I went to the British system, and it's a very strict system, you know, good point there. And then I went to America, became Americanized for a while, and got lost in this mainstream. Came back to Malaysia, and for a couple of years, couldn't figure out why I'm here. Now, I began to understand why I was put here in the first place. Because then I perhaps can help the young ones. We are all young today, mind you, because there are no older ones in this room. So we are all young, and we are now relating to the fact that it takes a while before one can absorb the idea of performativity, which I will go in a while. But before that, as we have rehearsed and practiced, the idea of not you and the not you. Meaning to say, my name is Muhammad Anis bin Makno, 5511075189. That's the me on the card. But when I come on stage, I am not like 551103075189. I have removed that from myself, and I'm trying to be that person in that state of flux, to be able to catch your energy at the transaction by which you are also in a state of flux. If you are not at a state of flux, I can never and ever become the performer. And when you are with me at a state of flux, you are performing too, because you've forgotten what you are and who you are. You clap, you scream, you jump, you enjoy, you smile, that's it, where you are in the state of flux. So it is a question of being not you. How far can you remove yourself from being not you to become that you want to be, but not you? If you are you, well, don't start in the first place. So the point the teacher, we teach here, university and colleges, I think every teacher will agree with me. The moment you appear in class, you know you're twice removed from yourself. You are trying so hard to bridge this group of solemn-faced, whatever you have in class, looking at you and say, here comes the goat, whatever they call you, and you are trying to be able to reach that. And in order to do that, you shift gear, you come in and you do all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm almost 60-year-old man, but I can jete and do all kinds of what I want to. Because by doing that, I get my student locked into me for 2 hours. And when they go home to do the homework, they cannot forget. They will not forget. So that is another idea of the not and not you, which we all want to do. So the next idea is, because it is that kind of approach to the state of flux, the liminal state, the between and the betwixt, to be whatever you want to be at the state of moment of time, only given 20 minutes. Mark and Azmi came out here 20 minutes. And now he's sitting down there cool, looking at me like a joker, you know? So he's back to himself. And this is a tool that is so important for all of us, because every one of us, it doesn't mean it has to be for a theater person, it doesn't mean it has to be for a person who runs a dance company, it means it really is a tool that is so important for all of us, because by human nature, we are dealing our trade with a consuming consumer who are human themselves. And this is where we are very, very far different from the way we look at things. And that's why I'm trying to put up these two wonderful scholars, if you wish, Google them, Richard Schachtner and Dr. Turner, trying to understand what happened in the process of the performance. And I pick up this definition between theater and anthropology, stressing the importance of intercultural performance. You saw just now, the whole idea of warga wilayah. You call it Malaysian, right? I mean, would you call it Indian? No. Would you call it Chinese? No. Would you call it English? No. Would you call it British? No. What would you call it? There's no other word. Malaysian, right? So what the hell is Malaysian? What were the signs that you saw? What were the signifiers that they were giving out to you? I mean, you have this guy coming out with his ukulele going and singing this dechanting piece, you know, and then you realize that the whole group are a kind of proletariat kind of subaltern renegades, pushing their thing. And I laugh the loudest when you say, you mengundi, undi kosong, and all that. I say, oh my God. It hits you, but how often does it hit you? It may hit you once, but the memory of that once lasts for a long, long time. The strength of the performance is because the idea of bringing the different signifiers and signages, and that happened what we saw just now. It reminds you everything you have in urban Kuala Lumpur. We always mime and mimic our friends outside of KL, and we try to pretend we can behave like the guys outside of KL. Mind you, we can't. And the guys outside of KL try to imagine them inside of KL. It's a wonderful intra and inter kind of relationship in Malaysia, and that I think is a good example of the idea of interdisciplinary work. And again, here is the idea of performativity. What I'm doing now is a promise that I made to myself, a promise that I'm delivering, because as I say things, I'm uttering it with my body and with my language. I mean, you can go to church or a mosque, and you see the priest or the imam going, you shall not sing. If you sing, then you will have all this, and then you sit there quietly. But that language and body gesture makes you feel you are in a completely different space. Of course, if you go to, say, a charismatic church, hallelujah, you go to a charismatic church, you can do the same thing too, but you connect yourself to another level of connection by which the performance itself is uttered and embodied, right? So performance is uttering and embodying at the same time. If you say, if someone, you are there in front of the priest, and the priest says, you are now husband and wife, can you say, chok, 5 minutes? You can't do that. Because the point of reference was, will you take her as your beloved wife? You don't do that. You say, I do. And what is in your mind at the point, I do? Nobody knows. You know. And that itself is the highest point by which you utter and you manifest together at the same time. You embrace it and no one else knows. And that's the idea of performativity, which was brought by Austin and developed by many other scholars. Okay, then I do not want to go into the idea of performing arts. I thought I was going to do that. I'm just jumping around now. My slides are hopeless. So I would like to say, first thing is that normally when we say performance and performance studies, we normally put it, only for those people who are dancing, only for those actors, only for those script writers. You forgot that the priest himself and the imam, they have rehearsed it for so many times to go up there to make you, the unbelievers, to believe. Right? So they have learned the law and rules of performance, man. Same too if you are a father. I mean, I'm raising children now who are, my God, help me. You know? It's completely different from my dad. I mean, my dad was easy. He just pulled his bell. I shut up. You know? And here I'm facing my children who says to me, you know, Dad, come on, grow up there. You're so old-fashioned. What do you do? At that moment, you began to think very fast and react in the way you think best. And all that's because of memory that you rehearsed. How do I rehearse my memory? Because you see, my kids have learned to behave that way because of what Anna said very clearly. You are now in the imagined world of the cyberspace and TV space. They have become very extroverted. Malaysian kids are very extroverted. And if parents are going to be parenting their children like our parents did, you can't survive. So you have to respond in a way by which your kids have pushed you. So then I have to react in a way by my father would have rolled his grave. You know? Bless him, Dad, bless you, rest in peace. But the point is, I would roll him grave because he would agree with the way I treat my kids. But this is again a rehearsed behavior because we have to learn that if they do it, and what do they expect of you? The expectation of your reaction is quite clear. If you do not give that, then you are missing the signifiers. You're missing the signification of the act. And the act cannot be embodied, therefore it's not performative. It's not performative, it doesn't deliver your point. So all the speakers who came up did the same thing. I hope I'm doing the same thing too. If I fail, I'm sorry, but I'm a clown for now. Never mind. So, you have to remember that there are two aspects of performing arts, right? There's performance art and performing arts. People ask me all the time, what is performance art? What is performing art? Well, if you have eyes, read it. I'm going to read it for you. Look at that. It's very different from the performing arts because it is about a concept, a content-based sense that negates all the other things you're familiar with, scripts, are familiar with structure. It is very much a visual thing that you see. Performance art is very visual. It sits there, it dialogues with itself, and you kind of try to imagine you are clever enough to understand it. It's almost you went to the gallery looking at all the paintings, you go like this. But truly, you don't know what it is all about, but, you know, there's a kind of contestation that happens. In the performing arts, you are fed, like, you're being fed thing in your mouth. You flow with the script, you flow with the play, you flow with the music. You don't shake that people around you shake, you have to shake. Because you don't shake that you ought, you shake together with them somehow. So you're in the mood of the performativeness, yeah, you go together. So in other words, if you look at these two elements of performance art and performing arts, we are not asking ourselves, how do we use these in our creative industries? Now, all of us, I think, qualify this morning as people are pushing our message into the creative domain, because otherwise you can't push it through. I mean, every one of us were doing slides, trying to do some cartoons, moving images here and there. What do you think? You're not creative industry people, excuse me? You think I'm the only one here? Yeah? We are using this because we are acting and trying to figure out how we deliver the action. And therefore, when we use these creative industries, we have to differ within the concept of cultural industries and creative industries. Now, in Malaysia, unfortunately or fortunately, we get very confused all the time. And it's okay. You know, confusion is a norm. You know, so you get confused sometimes and say, oh, this is cultural industry, that is not creative industry. Now, the government, I'll show what happened in the end, has acknowledged there's such thing as creative industry. I had 5 years of horrible time with all these top people trying to tell them creative industry. They said, bukan, kebudayaan. I said, no, kebudayaan is creative industry. Kreasi, creative, bukan kebudayaan. And because they are talking about tourism, they are talking about product for those who want to come in, they've forgotten that we have lost a huge chunk of young Malaysian talented pool. They've left this country. They've gone, they've trained themselves in Taiwan, very good program in Taiwan, they've gone to Korea, they've gone to Hong Kong, and they hardly come back. We have lost it. We never acknowledged graduates from Chinese university because of some reasons I don't want to talk about. Now we realize we missed the boat. Bye, the boat. So we have to reinvent it. And even like here, I was thinking, come on man, this wonderful Sunway College University, my God. You know, where else in Malaysia you have a performance studies and media, which everyone talks about, but here. But yet, Sunway is not brave enough to go all the way to challenge NAFA and challenge LASAR in Singapore. They are pulling the crowd. And we are sending our students here. We have people teaching in UM who graduated from NAFA. And we are missing it now because we don't understand. And because we don't understand that creative industry, we miss the boat again. So here my point is that creative industry is so crucial that we are trying to use many tools of expression to be able to deliver this. And I'm suggesting that we're using performance studies and how we want to use it. Because if you understand how to go about manifesting, selling, expressing your ideas, by which you bring the people whom you are communicating in a state of liminal self, betwixt and between. Likewise, you go to Tupperware sale. Why did you go to Tupperware and buy so many Tupperware that you don't need? You only realize you bring home all the junks after you open the pack. Or your nagging husband said, I told you. You know, you go into trouble, right? But every time you go to Tupperware, you Tupperware yourself. Every time you go to a Pyrex party, you Pyrex yourself. You know, because at that moment of time, And that's why you don't step into a place where you are not ready. Don't go to a gold shop where you're not ready, because jewelry shop is the worst place to go. You are in a state, because you enter this beautiful space, this 5-star space, you behave and pretend as though you're a 5-star person. Excuse me, can I shoot that please? You change your note, you know. But you go to Turkey, God not, no, God not, you know, change this. And this is whose fault? It's not the seller's fault. It is the way by which we have reacted to the way the seller has given us the sign. This is a very powerful tool. And this, I think, is very important in the way we want to do it. I want to almost close up now and look at how the UK has a very good program, and many countries are there, classify creative industry into specific fields and put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you can look at them and can get some more. And they're very outgoing in the way creative industry is not sourced only to the one that you're familiar with, dance, theatre, and music. Well, our government's creative industry foundation is dance, music, and theatre, period. Because people like they're so clever, they know so many things, they reduce everything down to minimalistic stuff, you know. So you have it. That's what I call the UK cultural mapping, which is very important. What happened is this, we look at British CIPS, Creative Industry Production System, by which you measure how you want to gauge the industry. You measure by breaking them into major components, and the component are content of origination, production, distribution, consumption. How do you use creative industry? How do you use performance studies and the technique and the way by which you manifest that liminal stuff in between you and the consumer, you and the person watching you, to be able to content this in the form. And it's been adopted by countries like Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and Hong Kong. And I put up the question, Malaysia, di mana? So, when we look at this again and again, I would say that, as I'm trying to prove here, but it's not important anymore, it's proven that post-industrial, industrial countries, they cannot survive without engaging in creative industry. And Singapore realized it far longer than us. In spite that they don't have the people, they are sourcing people right away. And we are very good. We are de-sourcing sources. I don't belong to any party, I'm very neutral. Right, let's go to how do you then try to say performance studies as creative tool for creative industry. I would suggest, therefore, I would use CIPS as a way of engaging the tools of performance studies like I mentioned just now, by trying to understand what performance content is, what you want. For example, Angela is very specific. She wants to speak this to people who are NGOs and stuff, whatever not. And then you have Anna, who's going to speak to very pious believers of God. Bless you. And you have, you know, there's a very specific niche there where you want to engage them. You have to understand the content, and then you do your performance staging. You did just now, right? I'm doing the same too. So you do the same thing by having the production being engaged with the idea of using the performative theory and the performative practice. And finally, you do the advertising through which you are distributing it, and you have announced yourself by book. You have given your book for us to buy, all of us to buy your book now, and then you have given your website and so on and so forth. So that's a way of doing it. And finally, you're consuming it. You are all consuming my performance for free. Thank you. I have to say that. It's a no. Thank you. So you have that. So you are consuming because you expect what it is to be, and if I do not rely and deliver to whatever expectation is, I fail. Okay? So finally, I would like to just suggest you something you have no idea of. I took it up from somewhere, don't ask me. But this is the Dasar Industry Creative Negara, or Basis of National Creative Industry, which is led by Pemandu, Performance Management Delivery Unit Prime Minister Department, administered by the National Department of Culture Arts. They are looking at, you can tap this, talent development, resource development, content audience development. They are tapping these three. Big words. I don't think they know what it is. Let's see if they know what it is. When they say talent development is about apprentice program and mentor-mentee, big words. Again, so when big words are used and people don't know about it, whose advantage is it? Us. They don't know. They only use big words. But if they use narrower meaning, you have a problem. I like it when they use big words, they don't know it. So you can use this, you can tap this. Isn't there performance here? Resource development, they are building busting zones and black boxes around KL to start with. Content audience development, you have grants to reduce production expenses, grants for Malaysian work, grants for audience development. All of this can only be tapped if the knowledge and the hardware software of performance studies is understood. And therefore focus. What are they focusing on? Look at that. Focus on living performing arts, dance, theatre, experimental music performance, interdisciplinary multimedia performance, music theatre, non-traditional opera, performance art, puppetry, spoken word and theatre, period. Look at the British category and look at our category. Period. It's fine. Because we don't have manpower. And that's my point here. We cannot expand the loop because we don't have manpower. And our manpower have gone and left this country. And we are trying to bring them back. But I don't think they want to come back. Unless we really provide them a greener pasture than they are having right now. And thank you.
I don't know how to behave and I don't know what question to ask. But can I ask, do you think that all young people in Malaysia or anywhere else should study performing arts?
Yeah, I think so. I don't say, be clear about this. When you say performing arts, we are very narrow about it, right? What do you mean by performing arts? What do you mean? Performing is what? Music? Dance? Theatre? Yeah, performing has to be larger than what is it? Look at the British CIPS there. It's larger than that. Why are we narrowing down? So yes, we have to study performing arts, but not in the old school. Performing art is the largest breadth. Meaning to say, you just cannot say, I offer this only in the School of Performance and Media. Some of this should be in the School of Business, man. And you don't have the soft skill. Hello? How do you have the soft skill? No. You are pushing cartoon and pushing on the bankers. Who cares? You answer your question, sir? You are the